But what if God is asking you to give up something good for something better? Maybe he has something better for you right now in this season, right? Maybe he's asking you right now because there is something in this season. And I was like, oh, okay. So maybe it's not just that alcohol is bad, but for some reason specifically, he wanted me to give it up for this time. Hi, friends, and welcome to Echoes of Impact. I'm Briana.
And I'm Cherise. We're so glad you're here with us.
On this podcast, we're dedicated to sharing real stories of how God shows up in life's challenges, how he can grow us, shape us, and use our experiences for something bigger.
So if you love Jesus and you want to walk more boldly in your purpose, you're in the right place.
Let's do this. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Echoes of Impact. I'm Briana.
And I'm Cherise.
And happy New Year. Of course, you'll be listening to this in February, but for us, we're recording in January, welcoming in 2026, and just very grateful to still be doing this here with you guys. We have no plans that I know of to stop. God has not told us to get out of this, and so we're looking forward to another great year, another just a year of more interviews with women. And then also once a month, Cherise and I get together and we just chat. And so that's what today is just Cherise and I. One of the things that we are going to talk about is that and it's Briana talking, gave up alcohol for 6 months. And I'm now on the other side of that. And I just wanted to talk about that to you guys as listeners, because I imagine that there's going to be people that listen that might find themselves in a place similar to me. And so it's not something like super easy to talk about, but I think it'll be important, and just praying that the right people hear about it. But before we get to that, we just wanted to take a moment to just kind of catch up with you guys and catch you up on our life, and also talk about goals or words or whatever as we look forward to 2026, what that might look like for us as well. And so, Cherise, why don't you kind of catch us up on where things are for you and your family?
Yeah. I remember last time we recorded, I talked about how I was trying to change my personality and become cleaner, like a cleaner person, like tidier, in other words.
Take a shower or
tidier. So I was going to give an update on that.
More organized.
I was trying to do some mindset work when it came to chores. Like, I want to fold laundry.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I love it.
Also working on like doing all the dishes after I cook, like that type of thing, instead of saving them for later, like that type of stuff.
Yeah. Like I usually wait till tomorrow. Yeah.
Right. So you were like, you're going to have to give us an update on that last time. And I was like, I'll try. So this is an update.
Did that keep you accountable? That's the
I think
test.
so. I think so, probably. So thank you.
Okay.
So I think that it has been really good for me, as far as it has made me less angry at the laundry.
Angry?
Yeah.
You were doing like the coupling thing, right? Like, I'm going to
trying
listen to something I want to while I fold the laundry, or
a little bit.
Something like that.
But I've always done that. So that wasn't new. It was more like changing my attitude towards it.
Yeah.
And so I think that has actually helped. And then it also has helped me to grow, to remember to ask for help when I need it. And it's also helped me to change my vision for the future with my kids too, making new habits and rhythms for my kids. My son, Charlie, he's 9. And so I've taught him how to make a couple of meals, but talking to him, I'm like, hey, I really want you to grow up to be a really helpful husband, if you ever want to be a husband someday, and a really helpful roommate and stuff like that. So whenever you're done cooking something, I'm going to walk you through making sure that you clean up all your dishes after. And the first time you teach a kid to do the dishes, they love it.
Oh.
Every time after that, though, they're like, this is not fun. But usually kids love playing with soap and water. And he was so funny, because when he was done, he was like, Mom, that was so easy. I don't know why it takes you so long to do the dishes.
You just signed yourself up for a chore.
Yeah. From the mouths of babes.
That's
so
funny.
There's my update on
So,
that.
do you have the kids participate? Like you said, having him help with dishes. Do you have them put away their laundry or anything like that?
I'm trying that's one of my goals for the year is to get better at doing that. I think
Mm,
that that's something that's kinda missing sometimes in this day and age is bringing kids along with you to get chores done around the house. Like,
yes.
having them be a part of the housework, having them be a part of, like, coming beside you to follow through to get things done.
Yes.
And you can see that in work ethic
Mhm.
in places if you ever hire a teenager. You either see a teenager that has really great work ethic and, like, can think ahead and knows how to follow through with stuff, or you can hire a teenager and you feel like you have to give them each step very clearly to
Yeah.
get them all the way to the end because they just get tired and bored and they don't wanna do it, you know? So, I one of my goals is to help
Or
my kids.
you try to teach them their whole
Yeah.
life and they're 17 and they still don't get it.
Mm,
So you can have
yeah,
that too.
exactly. It's
Speaking for a
personality, I'm
friend.
su yeah, sure part of his personality,
Uh-huh.
but yeah.
Yes, but I do appreciate that. When my kids were younger, because Sharice has younger kids. You said 9 and is it 7?
6.
6.
6 and 9.
And then my kids are 17, 15, 13, and then a 6-year-old. But when they were much younger, I would have just like those plastic pull-out drawers, or if you have, a dresser,
Mhm.
and I would just put like a picture of a shirt or pants or PJs,
Yeah.
and they didn't have to fold or anything. So it's like part of it is like us releasing how we think it should be, you
Mhm.
know? And so when they were, I mean, 4, 5, 6, it's just like, okay, that's a shirt, goes in the short shirt drawer.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I feel like I've done stuff like that because I remember I went to college and I called my mom and was like, I need to do laundry here and I don't know how to turn on the washer.
Mhm.
My mom was kind of the type like, just get out of the way. I'm going to do it better. You're not doing it right. So I'm just going to do it. And I appreciate like a lot of what she did because she was a stay at home mom and I was very busy in school and sports and all of that. So she was like, when was I supposed to teach you? But at the same time, like when I left the home, I think it was like a big wake up call like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, I don't know how to do anything.
Right. Yep. So, how about
Oh,
you? What's been going on with you?
yeah. Well, I think the last time we chatted, I told the listeners that Nora had our daughter, she's 13, and has been going through some health things. I don't know if I said the diagnosis, but she has POTS,
Mm.
POTS, POTS. And so the telltale sign, like the physical symptom, is that when she lies down, her heart rate is in the 60s. And when she stands up, it shoots up to like 130. So it
Mhm.
like over doubles without her moving around or anything. And then like her blood pressure is low. So usually when you stand up, your heart rate might go up just a tiny bit and your blood pressure compensates for like doing those things. And hers isn't. And because of that, it is like a whole just umbrella of symptoms,
Mhm.
ranging from like foggy brain to stomach hurting to feeling like she's going to pass out to chest feeling uncomfortable. And so, yeah, that's been a lot to navigate. But the last couple weeks, just kind of miraculously, she's been feeling better and has been more herself. And she even set a goal for this year to like make it to school a whole week straight without missing. I
Aw.
mean, that's like, that tells you how bad it's been. She's missed a lot
Yeah.
of school because of it. And so, yeah, so for right now, she is doing better and we feel more supported. A month later, we have, yeah, good practices in place and things that seem to help her some. So that's where we're at with that. That was kind of the biggest thing.
Mm. That's hard, but it sounds like you guys are starting
Yeah.
to find a new normal. Does that sound right?
Yeah. It's interesting when it really flares up, it kind of feels like nothing helps and that you have to stay
Mm.
on top of everything. So we're still definitely figuring out a lot, but at the same time, like, we at least have whether it's doctor visits in place or we were even doing chiropractic and
Mhm.
acupuncture. So we were doing a mix of kind of the functional health and doctors too. So we were kind of doing a mix of both. So we at least have things on hand to try to support. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but that's where we're at with that. And then 2026. So I am not really like a big resolution person myself,
Mhm.
but a few years ago, a friend and I wanted to like have a word that was more of like an intention for the year. And so I have been doing like a word for the year, and I feel like I approach it prayerfully. It's not
Mhm.
just like, I don't know, love, or I just don't pull a word out of the air kind of thing. I feel like I pray
Mhm.
about it and a word will come to me. And so this year is no exception. But we were talking about this before we recorded, and neither one of us are big like resolutions people. And you're saying maybe not even a word person. So I'm curious, do you have anything like a 2026,
Oh,
like
yeah. So
what you're
I
looking
did
for?
have we were talking before, and you were like, "What was your word for 2025?" I know I had one. I don't remember what it was. We were doing it in
Did
our
you
life
write it
coaching group.
down sometime?
I'd have to
Like,
find my old journal because, like,
it's got to be written.
I write down I have journals, I just go through them so fast that I'd have to, like, go and find it, my old journal. Anyway, yeah, my word for this year, is funny because I have been going to some hot yoga classes that I've been really enjoying, and the first f I feel like maybe I have a little bit of seasonal depression that hits me every once in a while. So, like,
Hmm.
going into a place where, like, I have some me time and it's just me and I'm, like, praying during it and, like, talking to God,
Yeah.
and
And it's
then
hot,
and it's
not
hot and it's good.
freezing. Yeah.
And then first couple times that I went, like, it was just so good, and I remember I was praying to God during it, which sounds maybe weird to some people, but it's okay, it is what it is. So I'm, like, praying
It
to
doesn't
God, and
sound
I felt
weird to
like
me.
he talked to me, and he gave me, like, a little vision of the sun rising, and that was it, and it was
Mm.
like, "Oh, that's so nice," like, I really needed to hear see that, like, that gave me and that's how kind of I took that, and I was like, "That's what I'm stepping towards," like, I'm stepping towards, like, renewal, the
Mm.
rising sun, like, starting new
Like
and
the
starting
light,
fresh. Right, and so
fresh.
when I saw my friends on New Year's Eve, they were, like, talking about their words and their plans, and they were like, "Do you have a word?" I was like, "Nope." And they were like, "You have to." I was like, "Do I?
You have to.
Do I have to?" And they were like I was like, "Fine, like, I'll think about it." And so I was like, "Probably it would have to do with the vision God gave me." So just, like, dawn or something like that, or
Hmm.
I don't wanna say new dawn or breaking dawn because that's twilight. I'm just talking about, like, the rising sun. So, funnily enough, I came home after that trip and I was on my computer and I was talking to Sean and I looked up, like, verses that have to do with the rising sun. And so the one that really
Yeah.
jumped out at me there's a ton of them, by the way, was
Okay.
Isaiah 58:8, which is, "Then your light shall break forth like the dawn, and your healing shall spring up speedily. Your righteousness shall go before you, and the glory of the Lord shall be your rear guard."
Mm.
And then at church on Sunday, I was writing down the verse, and then I looked to the
Yeah.
first page in that journal, and it was that whole chapter, Isaiah 58.
Oh,
Our pastor
it's
had
like
just preached on
God
it.
confirming.
Yeah. I mean, it was the first page of my journal is the
Mhm.
exact verse that God gave me for my new year. So it was just like a little bit of confirmation.
I like in that verse too the word healing,
Mhm.
so it's like whether it's fresh start, new beginnings,
Sure.
in different avenues of your life or whatever, but also healing. And I don't know
Yeah.
exactly what that means for you, but that's still like a beautiful word that.
Mhm. It signifies hope and stepping in towards
Yeah.
healing for everything.
I love that. I'm excited to hear how that unfolds for you. Yeah. Because I feel like when God gives a word like that, like we've talked about this on here before, but not everybody listens to all the episodes. So, but it like unfolds, right? It's like
Mhm.
we might think we know what it means and we might be right in some ways, but as your year continues, it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds for you.
Yeah.
So for me, yeah, funny. It's a funny word, and it's one of those that, like, this is why I know it's from God, right? So, essentially, do you know the meaning of your name, Charisse? Have we talked
Yes.
about this?
My
Tell
name
me.
it means cherished one and beloved blessing.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Mhm.
Do you know what else?
It
Because I
also
looked
means
it up in case you didn't
cherry.
have.
It also means cherry in
Yeah.
French. But
Yes. Yes. Because I looked up some things because it was like, it also talks about the fruit of the spirit.
Mhm.
Like, and it says like a cherry, like you said, your name, Cherise, is like a cherry. It's like a fruit inspired name that symbolizes somebody bearing sweet, life giving fruit. And I see you as that.
That's nice.
It says Cherise embodies delight, joy, sweetness,
Mhm.
faithfulness. Yeah.
There
Isn't
you
that
go.
sweet? I think
That's
that
very
is
nice.
you. Yeah.
Does Brianna so what does Brianna mean?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm getting to. So I thought my name mean like when I had looked it up in the past, I had found like tall hill or something
Mhm.
like that. And I was like, okay, that's really boring, right? And then recently, I was like in a chat with, well, our friend Lara and then Jamie Nato, and they were talking about the meaning of their names and how, like it fit their name. And so I made a comment like, oh, I don't really like my name. Like, I feel like my parents named me the wrong name. You know how there's people that it's hard to remember their name, like you don't think that they look like their name?
Mhm.
Do you know people like that? I've been
Um,
told that I look like that.
I think you look like a Brianna.
Thank you. But I've had enough people be like, "You just don't look up like a Brianna," that I'm like, "I don't know, maybe I was named wrong." And so anyway, so I said, "I think my name means like a tall hill. It's really cool." And Laura was like, "Yeah, no, there's a lot more to it." And so she did her little, sometimes it feels like she searches in a way that I don't know that I don't. And so she started sending me stuff about my name. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that really feels like it fits." And so I just have been digging into that. And the reason I bring it up is because a lot of what we have like talked to women about is like identity and purpose, right?
Mhm.
And so a lot of times when you're talking to somebody about something, like you're learning about it too. And so I feel like I've been learning about new layers of my identity. Okay, so bear with me. I have a vision that I want to tell you about, and then I'll tell you the meaning of my name. So, a few weeks ago, I had this vision. I wonder if I told you, Charisse, that I was like in prayer and God like put a crown on me and like a cape. What do you call those things?
Mhm.
Like whatever it's called,
A
and
robe?
a robe. Thank you, and a scepter. Is that how you say it?
Uh-huh.
And it was like a queen, right?
Yeah.
And it made me uncomfortable.
Mm.
Like, ugh. Like, I don't want that. It's like that kind of like the false humility, like you hear like, oh, you're a daughter of a king, but I've always felt uncomfortable with that kind of saying, like, oh, I'm a
Mhm.
queen.
Mhm.
It sounds more like you're elevating yourself than it does like I don't know, like a humble saying or something. And so I like even jotted it down. I'm working with a coach and I even talked to her about it. I'm like, I got this vision and it makes me uncomfortable. And she's like, why? And I'm like, I don't know. And so anyway, that was my vision. Fast forward, Lara's sending me all these things about my name. I'll read to you. Brianna means high, noble, exalted, strong, virtuous. It
Mm.
is literally a kingdom name. Like,
Nice.
it's a name that comes from, like, royalty. Like, what are the odds? And I'm
Yeah.
not saying, like, that's what's so weird, like, or hard to, like, talk about it in this way. It's like,
Sure.
I'm not trying to this isn't a superiority thing at all. I find it interesting, though, that as I can think I know, like, who I am and how God made me, what he created me for, but I'm always gonna be learning new layers.
Mhm.
So, of course, this layer that felt uncomfortable to me, like, I can know it in my head, like, "Oh, yeah, I'm a daughter of a king." Like, sure. But, like, to really know it in my heart. And so I found it so funny that when I looked up the meaning of my name, that's what it had. So
Mhm.
I started digging into some of that, and I ended up landing on the word noble,
There you
but
go.
kind of like You know, though, like how the world might think of a word and how God intends like a word, right? So to some, noble is like, oh, you're putting yourself on a pedestal or something. But the word noble is like a mix of quiet strength and
Mm,
virtue. And somebody who's virtuous is somebody who has high morals, right? And even in their
mhm,
private life, like they're the same person. And it also is about surrendering and then
mm,
just taking on like that that identity.
mhm.
And just a verse that I came to because you had shared a verse, like there's Proverbs 31:25. She's clothed with strength and
Yeah,
dignity,
it's a good
right?
one.
And then Philippians 4:8, it talks about whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, right? Think
Mhm,
on these things. But I feel like the word noble is kind of a word that you're like, I think I kind of know what that means, but I'm not really sure, right?
mhm.
And so, lastly, it's like noble is this mix of quiet strength, which is it's not my strength, it's like God's strength and virtue, like living virtuously. And if you think about like, let's say there was a good queen, right? A good queen is somebody who is good to people, right? And fair.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So when you think of it that way, I was like, that's kind of cool. So I'm working on it, but I really loved I had ChatGPT like help me out on this. And it ended with saying, this is a year of becoming settled. The word settled,
Mm,
grounded in God, in your identity, and the quiet power of living with integrity.
love it.
I was like, "Oh, I really like that word settled." It sounds nice, doesn't it?
It does. You're like, I can land on settled, that feels safe." Whereas, like,
Yeah,
noble feels a little bit more like, "Ooh."
I know. So I probably I might have over explained, but hopefully it made sense. But one reason I wanted to like kind of go into that with even our listeners is because I just want to encourage our listeners that if you do, either maybe you already have a year of the year or maybe you haven't given it a thought, that when it's something that comes from God, like, don't just settle on a word and then, like, throw it away. Like,
Mm,
sit with it and marinate, and I am not above I even use ChatGPT, like, "Tell me more about the word noble." And so, if you're listening and that's something you're doing, look up the definition of the word, and then look up, is there a Greek word that is maybe similar? Is there a Hebrew word that is maybe similar?
mhm.
Um and then I kind of went down these rabbit holes of like, okay, like what is quiet strength versus like what the world might see as like what
Yeah.
strength is. And it just started unpacking. And I literally this morning, I have like 4 pages of notes
Mm,
on why the word noble and what that is going to mean like for me,
yeah.
like what I'm working towards. And so and then, oh, just because you had said too, because you said like you opened your Bible and it went to Isaiah
Mhm.
58, and that confirmed it. So, right before we were recording, I had written in this journal, and I haven't used this journal for probably like a year and a half. So, this morning I was writing in it about the word noble, and there was a bookmark in a page. So I opened it up. So if you're watching, I'm showing you where I opened it up and there's a quote by Ernest Hemingway. Okay, not even like a Bible verse, but it says, "There is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self."
That's good.
So kind of going back to like my word noble is not about any kind of superiority or putting
Mhm.
myself on a pedestal. It's like just me versus me here, right? It's
Yeah.
it's being like transformed,
Mhm.
becoming a better version of myself because of abiding in him.
That's good.
And I thought that was kind of a confirming little quote to my word. That feels
It's so
funny.
fun when he confirms stuff. It's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that was you. That wasn't just random," you know? And then it
Yeah.
can make you feel loved and seen and supported. So that's really good. I wanted to
Yes.
mention for our listeners too, I run into a lot of people that don't know how to study the Bible or look up Greek or Hebrew
Mhm.
words. And so anybody that's listening, like, I don't even know where to start. The best resource that I've found for that is Blue Letter Bible.
Yeah.
.com or .org, and you just go in there and you can actually just type in the word, and it'll show you all the verses with that word. And then through that, there are different ways you can click to see the different definitions and all the places it's used.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's great. I have the app and I sometimes forget to use it. So that's a great reminder to me too.
yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. So,
Sweet.
we as a good transition to kind of like what we wanted to talk about here next with your 6 months.
From nobles drinking wine
Yeah.
to yeah,
So, yeah,
to not.
Noble's drinking wine and not. You wanna
Yeah.
so what was your year for word for 2025? Because I don't remember mine, right?
Yeah, so I guess we're going back in time a little bit, right? Because you're going to hear this in February, but it does like build on each other. My word was savor. So
Mhm.
again, an off the wall word that I felt like God gave me that played out in a wide variety of ways. And so it ended up being really awesome. I'd say my favorite way it played out was I really savored time with God more than I ever have before. Like I spent more time with him than any year of my whole life. And then how it ended up playing out in a way I did not see coming is that the second half of the year, I felt like God was asking me to give up alcohol.
Mm.
And admittedly, I fought it for a while. Like
Mhm.
I just tried to rationalize or justify, or that's probably not him. Or I even was like, oh, is that just things like Christians do as they become more, quote, Christian? Is
Mm.
you just, is, you know, once you're Christian enough, you're going to give up alcohol or something. So I think I scoffed at it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then just time and time again, God is like, I'm asking you to give up alcohol. Nope, this is for you. Yep, nope, this is for you. And so it was interesting because using that word savor, right? You savor food or savor wine. And instead he was saying, will you give that up so that you can savor me more? So 6 months ago, I finally was like, okay. It was just before July 4th holiday. I did not wait until after the holiday or to start on a Monday or all those things. I
Which
was
is the
just,
right
once
way
I
to do it.
decided, right.
Yeah.
Once I finally decided, keeping in mind that I fought it, I just dove in and I successfully did 6 months. No
Which is
alcohol.
amazing, by the way. That is
Thank
huge.
you.
That is not a small thing. I think I tried to do, like, this is gonna make me sound crazy. I tried to make it a month once, and I think I made it 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's
Close.
like, so if anybody that's ever tried, it's not easy necessarily, which sounds crazy,
Yeah.
but there's something so nice sometimes about just, like, enjoying a glass of wine with your husband in the evening, like, right? So,
Yeah.
what was the hardest part for you to, like, finally do it? You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. Well, I want to start by saying a couple things to our listeners. One is that, again, just like my word noble, yeah, we're just going to go with that theme. Me not drinking for 6 months is not at all to make anyone feel like I'm trying to be better than anyone or that I'm
Mhm.
a better Christian than anyone, or anything like that. So if you're listening and you drink, and we're about to talk about this, like, this is not a judgment on you. I think that God calls everybody to different things and that
Mhm.
everybody struggles with different things. And so you just listen to what God says to you. And if he really wants you to give up drinking for a time or for forever or whatever, he'll tell you. And I
Mhm.
trust that if you're in communion with him, he'll tell you. And if he means it for you, he doesn't stop telling you, like with
Right.
me. So I do want to say that. The other thing I want to say is that I feel like I should be just very frank with where things were for me because some people listening probably don't drink much or
Mhm.
at all.
Right.
And so there could be people listening that are like, cool, big deal.
Good for you.
Like, good for you. Yeah. Pat on the back. So I want to be vulnerable enough to share that. Well, I don't think it was like strong enough to call it like an alcohol addiction. It was something that was just part of our regular rhythms.
Mhm.
And so, and I think one thing that I found in a lot of conversations is like 2020 was like a common denominator,
Mhm.
unfortunately. And for us, not only were we cooped up in the house, but we had a 3-month-old surprise baby that we ended up adopting. And
Mhm.
so, and I'm not saying that should have been a reason to drink, but a lot was going on and a lot of things were uncertain and we were stuck at home and we ended up drinking more than usual, just sitting on our back patio or, whatever.
Mhm.
And so through that, it just, fast forward however many years, and it just kind of felt like it started to become the regular. So if we went out on a date or if we had friends over or if we went somewhere, it's like if you're celebrating, if it's Friday, if it's snowing, it's kind of like there's always this reason to
Right.
drink.
Mhm.
And so yeah, so I just want to be honest with everyone to say like it was too much, that it was just too much and
Yeah.
too like the norm. Um And so with that said, it was hard to you had asked like what like made it hard to I guess give it up for the time. And to be honest, like the hardest part was how I felt like that bonded my husband and I. And
Mm.
that's what made it hard to even like to actually think it was really coming from God, I guess, because I kept
Uh,
justifying like I'm not somebody that drinks and then like gets angry or
sure.
like yells at my kids or my husband and I end up fighting or I do things that I regret. Like
Mhm.
drinking for me most of the time would be like my husband and I sharing a bottle while we're cooking dinner and then we have a drink out on the patio while the sun is setting. So I
Yeah.
just kept
Like a
saying like
romantic thing connection. Yeah.
yeah, and with friends too. It wasn't like it was
Sure.
only ever with him, but
Yeah.
again, I didn't have regrets or lashing out at people or like some
Mhm.
of those like kind of bad qualities that you might think of with drinking. So
Yeah.
I kept kind of delaying it. Like, is it really affecting my life that much?
Mhm.
And finally, a friend had said to me, like, well, okay, so it is good in some ways, right, for you and your husband and the bonding and whatnot. But what if God is asking you to like give up something good for something better? Like
Mm.
maybe he has something better for you right now in this season, right? Maybe he's asking you right now because there is something in this season. And I was like, oh, okay. So maybe it's not just that alcohol is bad, but
Mhm.
for some reason specifically, he wanted me to give it up for this
Yeah.
time. And so I read the funniest, and I do have like a sense of humor and can be very smart aleck. So I find, is that a surprise to you, Sharice?
No, I just thought it was a funny connection.
Well,
Humor
I'm
and
getting
smart
to it.
aleck.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
funny sometimes, and I'm also smart aleck. So I'm saying that because God ended up using a kind of a funny story in the Bible to tell me, like, yes, again, this is for you.
Mhm.
So I have been doing the Bible recap, which is essentially reading the Bible in a year, and it's with the Tara Lee Cobble. But I've been taking it very, very slowly, again,
Mhm.
savoring. And so I don't worry so much about checking it off every day. Like I just take it in. So I could be on a random day at any given point. So I was already thinking about it. I already felt like God was like telling me to. I open up my Bible. It's Isaiah 28.
Mhm.
And I'm going to read like a part of it. He starts by saying, all these people are drunk, all of them. They're confused as drunkards. They're hidden from the Lord's vision. They're drunk, it says, but not from wine. They're staggering, but not from beer. So technically, this verse was saying like they're just kind of like in their own heads,
Mm.
but it still uses those words. Okay, fast forward. And he says, and this is like God's words, okay? For it is do this, do that, a little here, a little there, line
Mhm.
upon line, precept upon precept, a little here, a little there.
Yeah.
And so the commentary to this section where God was talking is that he was being a smart aleck.
Uh-huh.
He
He's
was
being a little
talking,
funny.
yeah, he was being kind of funny to
Mhm.
people. It was two prophets in particular.
Mhm.
Like basically, I'm not going to make any sense to you if you're not going to listen to what I'm saying.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, okay. And I really, I have felt like God has, like, I feel like I've heard his voice a lot more in the past year than other years. And it was like, could drinking be keeping me from being more in tune with him? Maybe at times that I need to be or something.
Sure.
And after that day and after I read that, I gave it up. And the funny thing, kind of back to the word savor, that was my word of last year, is one of the verses that I used was Psalm 34:8, and it's taste and see that the Lord is good.
Mhm.
And so it was like, oh, like, am I willing to give up something that I enjoy the taste of to experience God in like a fuller way, I guess.
Yeah.
And so yeah. So I gave it up and it was really hard
Yeah.
at first.
What was the hardest thing that you encountered? Does it so, like, 2 questions. First, let's start with the first one. Did it get easier?
Yes,
Okay,
that did
good.
get easier.
And what was the hardest thing right at first? Was it the connection with your husband, or did something surprise you?
Yes. I think what surprised me was you don't really see kind of how much you're doing something or wanting something until you
Mm,
don't have it, which might
yeah,
just sound like duh to everybody, but you have to give some things up to really
yeah,
see how much you like might miss it, you know?
yeah.
And so in some ways it was like almost like embarrassing at first of like
Mm,
why like it shouldn't be that hard. Alcohol is just alcohol.
right.
So it was showing me what it had become in my
Yeah,
life because I
that's
missed
good.
it,
Yeah,
you know? And it's not that there's not times like that. Maybe it's okay to miss it, like the glass of wine before bed with my husband or
sure.
something. But at the overall, like I missed it just when we'd go out or be around
Mhm.
friends or whatever. And so I felt like that was eye opening.
Do you feel like it was, like, a safety net for you to, like, have in social situations to be, like, just something to do with your hands even? Like, or do you feel it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, safety net. Like, I still kind of felt like myself, I guess. But I will say, in general, in maybe a friends group and stuff, like, I think I'm seen as the fun friend who will
Mhm,
join you for a good time. I'll fly somewhere tomorrow with you and I'll share a glass of wine with you.
mhm,
Like, I'm kind of a yes girl to the people
mm,
that I'm really close to. So, maybe in that sense, it made me feel like, oh, I'm not just your yes girl because you're in a lot of the situations I was in, they still are drinking and
yeah,
I'm abstaining.
mhm.
So I felt like a little bit not left out, but like
Missing out almost, like a
maybe a little bit of missing
yeah,
out. Yeah. One of the things that I saw pretty early on that I want to like keep with me now is the difference between alcohol enhancing something already good
mm,
and trying to make something better.
that's pretty good.
And so for me, I started recognizing, oh, I would really like a glass of wine because I had a really hard day.
Right.
I feel really stressed today. I would like a glass of wine because the kids were extra today. Or I would like a glass of wine because I'm at this social event that I don't really want to be at and I kind of just want to be at home.
Right,
And so if I just would drink, then I can at least enjoy myself a little better.
right.
And so that became pretty clear early on. Whereas I'm at dinner, a nice date with my husband, and we're having steak and we're going to order a nice bottle of wine to enjoy with our meal.
Yeah,
And we're talking about our week, and it's like, oh, this is already like a good thing.
sure.
And alcohol isn't to cover anything. It's not to
Mm,
try to make something better. It's enhancing something that's already good.
that's good. Yeah. There's an idea a lot I've heard from some people to say that, like, wine is almost like because the Bible talks a lot about wine. It talks about it in a lot of different ways. It talks about it in
Yeah.
a way that's, like, almost like an enjoying thing, like you said, like, enhancing, like,
Like the wedding
drinking
feast.
like the wedding feast, like,
It's a
drinking
celebration
together.
and
It talks about it, I think,
yeah.
in, Ecclesiastes or Lamentations. It's like, what's the purpose of life? It's like, eat, drink, enjoy the work of your hands, and be merry, and, like, worship the Lord. You
Mm,
know what? It talks about those in those ways, but it also talks about, like, very clearly, don't get
yeah.
drunk. You know what I mean? And it talks about
Mhm.
it in a lot of different areas. So it is a gray area for a lot of people. And I love the distinction that you
Mhm.
just made of how it can become like a crutch in some
Mhm.
situations. And then there's other situations where it's like, wow, this is almost like a gift from God to enjoy
Mhm.
like the fruit of the world, like what he made and what he gave us.
Yeah.
How did it
Yeah, for sure.
affect other relationships or even like your quiet time with God?
Mhm. I feel like you'd have to ask those other people. I don't know. I mean, in
Yeah.
general, people were it wasn't something that I put out there publicly. Like, I
Mhm.
wanted to quietly do this. And so unless you're a personal friend like Sharice knew that I was doing this, or if we went out with people, it was obvious that I wasn't drinking. There was a couple of times that I tried to just get like a non-alcoholic drink, just and it wasn't to pretend I was drinking, it was more because I was trying not to invite the questions
Mhm.
and look, try to look superior or anything, and people would find out. It's like, that's an NA beer?" And I'm like, "What? How did I end up with that?"
Yeah.
And so I would just tell people I wouldn't go into it necessarily. I would just say, "Yeah, I'm just abstaining for a while," um, and just try to leave it at that. But I will say that I ended up having a lot of conversations with people who really want to drink less.
Yeah.
And so that was eye-opening for me, because I do think that in general, there's a lot of people who, and I say this like not in a judgmental way, because like I was here too, that just drink more than they would want to,
Mm.
and they don't know how like not to.
Yeah.
And so if I hadn't been abstaining, like those conversations wouldn't have happened,
Sure.
because I just would have been enjoying alongside them. So there was some really good conversations like that. Another thing that I noticed, because I think when God asks us to give up something, whether it's alcohol or any number of things, right?
Mhm.
It's like you want to know why. Well, why?
Sure.
Like, and he's like, I don't have to tell you why,
Yeah.
and
Isn't
I
that
think
rude?
that there's probably, yeah, like just tell me why, and then maybe I will.
Mhm.
But I think in hindsight, sometimes you might know some of the why. And there's probably things about me not drinking that I don't know why,
Mhm.
that only God knows why he asked me to. But one thing that also became more clear is when God asked me to give it up, I was not at the church or I wasn't regularly attending the church that you and I attend
Eh,
now.
right.
And so I gave it up. Well, then quickly found myself, leading a Bible study for a group of women. The majority of them have either currently or in the past really struggled with addiction of some kind,
Mhm.
alcohol, even drugs, or a very close loved one going through it.
Yeah.
And the church that we attend is unique in that it actually has a very, very high population of, for lack of a better word, just addicts and those in
Yeah.
recovery and those who have been incarcerated in some way. It's just unique in that way. And it's actually kind of the beauty of it too. Like I've grown
Mhm.
to really like love and appreciate being around people who I can learn so much from. And so it was like helpful because otherwise it would have felt like I'm leading this Bible study and I can't relate to a lot of people who have dealt with having to give up certain things.
Mm.
So even if I wasn't necessarily at this like rock bottom or something,
Right.
it was still hard enough for me to give it up that I was at least experiencing some of what it feels like to say no to something and to continue to
Mhm.
say no to your flesh day after
Yeah.
day.
That's good. Spiritually, it had a big effect. How did it make you feel physically? Like, did you notice any difference? Because that's one thing I noticed even for the 3
Yeah.
weeks that I did it. I had more energy.
Uh-huh.
I slept better. Like, did you notice an
I
impact?
think so. Yeah, it's hard because I also went through some like hormonal shifts in the past
Mm.
year where I got help for certain things too. And so It's like, it's hard to tell, like, am I feeling a lot
Sure.
better because of that? Maybe both, right? It's probably a mix of
Right.
both. So I would say, yeah, in general, and I also don't like wear an Apple Watch or one of those rings or whatever.
Mhm.
So I'm sure that would have told me a lot. But yes, I think in general, I'm sleeping better, and that happened pretty quickly. I think less anxiety.
Yeah.
It's this interesting where you drink because of anxiety sometimes,
Mhm.
but it actually causes
It
more
does. Yeah, it
anxiety
can.
overall. Yeah, maybe just more like content. And I'm sure that I grew because I went through a lot of things. There were moments that were definitely a temptation. Really hard days, really hard situations that I just wanted to like forget life for a while and just enjoy some wine with my husband and, not have to think about as much things that I went through.
Right.
And so surely I grew through that, right? Like denying the flesh in that way and
Mhm.
having to find other ways to take it to God. I'll also say like this has to be related and I'm like thinking this through in real time here. I have had a lot of dreams that I feel like are from God in the
Mm.
last year. Where if you asked me like 5 years ago, "Does God give you dreams?" I would have been like, "I don't think so."
Mm.
And so, if you're drinking at night,
Yeah,
that's
maybe.
numbing certain things, right? And
Could be, yeah.
obviously God can do anything, like he could still like bust through and give you a dream. But to me it feels related that like multiple dreams a week that and I don't always know what they all mean, but that I've started like writing them down
Mhm.
and praying about them or asking God to reveal more about that or so yeah, so I feel like maybe it played into that as well. Just a general hearing clearer from him,
Yeah.
because they say even just a couple glasses of wine can affect you the next morning. You
Mhm.
you don't have to be like hungover
Right.
for it to
Cause you
just
to be
affect
dehydrated. Yeah,
or
even.
something, right? I know that there's a host of things, but yeah, so it's like even my quiet times in the early morning, I imagine that they were potentially more fruitful
Yeah.
because I was clear-minded.
And what does your future look like stepping into the next 6 months? Are you
That's a great question. So, full transparency, I did my 6 months, and then my husband and I had a trip out of town, just the 2 of us, no kids, celebrating a friend's 40th birthday, and I drank because it was celebration, no responsibility, no
Mhm.
kids, all the fun things, and it wasn't like I didn't regret it or it wasn't I don't know, like, it wasn't, like, bad or anything like that, like,
Mhm.
there was nothing surprising. It was just like, "Oh, and now I drink, I guess." But I will say, like, it was kind of hard to go from not drinking at all to now like, now I can and I don't have kids around or anything, like, that
Yeah.
wasn't, like, the best transition. But I really think that moving forward, going back to really being intentional
Mhm.
if and when I do. And, I've even thought, and this is something I continue to just talk to God about, and I trust that He will tell me,
Yeah.
one way or the other. But one kind of boundary, if you will, that I've thought is like once a week, I can choose something that's worth it. It
Mhm.
might mean that that's a date night. It might mean having friends over, right? Or it might be a Tuesday with a pretty sunset. But
Mhm.
if I choose that one time that week, then I'm going to abstain, even if there's multiple, social events or whatever that
Yeah.
week. So that's kind of one like guardrail that I've thought about. But yeah.
Yeah. It's a deeply personal walk to do with God, for a lot of people in the world, and some people will have no problem with it. They're like, "Why would I do that?" I have like you said, like, I don't have any problem with it. Like, I don't feel like
Yeah.
it's a big crutch in my life. Like, I feel freedom. I feel like me and God are cool. There's a verse in the Bible that says, like, everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. Like,
Mm,
you know what I mean? Like, it's a very personal
yeah.
walk with God, but if there are people listening, they're like, "Yeah, maybe I do wanna give that up for a little while and see, like, what God has to say to me or see, like, what kinda growth I
Yeah.
can make spiritually or even physically." Because alcohol does have huge impacts on our physical health.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we would just ask you to like pray about it, sit with God about it, because
Yeah.
he has something to say about it. But we can also link a couple of really good Instagrams in the show notes that talk about getting sober to help people with
Mm.
those things that if they do feel like they need it, to give you inspiration and more information about the
Yeah.
effects of it.
And I'm an open book. So, now that this is the cat's out of the bag. So,
Yeah.
if anybody wants to talk, like, I promise I don't bite and I also don't judge. So, if there's somebody listening that just wants, like, somebody to be honest with, and I don't have all the answers, but I'm happy to listen and I'm happy to tell you things that helped me or worked for me. One thing I didn't talk about was, I did find, like, some non-alcoholic beverages that were a nice, like, kind of I didn't think that I would do, like, the swap out, like, I would rather just have water, but I did end up, like, especially going out to a restaurant or something like that,
Hmm.
I would open, like, a bottle of like, non-alcoholic sparkling or something like that, even just to, like, feel like I was participating or doing something fancy, if you will. So, I didn't do
Yeah.
that often, but there were little things like that, like, if I did feel the urge or something, like, it would, I guess, give me that motion or something enough that the urge would subside.
Yeah.
And so I'd be happy to talk to anybody who, is considering doing that, or maybe you're feeling like God is telling you, or, yeah, or just curious what that could look like for you. Just reach out.
Yeah. So here's to the new year. We hope that get on comments and share us what your new year resolution or your word is. Let us know if you decide to take a break from alcohol because we love
Yeah.
to hear from you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us. We have a lot of things planned for 2026. We're really looking forward to the guests we have lined up. So keep tuning in, and we hope you have a great week. Join us next week for another inspiring story. Thanks for listening in today, and we hope that you enjoyed today's episode.
Just remember, your story matters, and God is using it to create echoes way beyond what you can see.
If this episode encouraged you, please share it with a friend, subscribe, and leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, keep trusting God, leaning into His purpose, and allow your life to echo His love.